Welcome to Toy With Me. My name is Jerome Montgomery, and I have the honor of serving as the Executive Director of Project Vita. Toy With Me is our monthly live and live streaming event where we discuss and explore ways of creating a spicier, safer sexual experience through education on the use of adult toys, as well as an exploration of kink and fetish. Here at Toy With Me, we promote sex positivity and embrace all gender-loving communities. Toy With Me events are sponsored and produced by Project Vita, a nonprofit organization located on the southwest side of Chicago, where we provide a host of low-cost or free services to the community, including behavioral health services, case management services, food pantry services, acupuncture and massage, as well as rental and utility assistance. Once again, we would like to show you how grateful we are by joining us tonight. We encourage you or welcome you to just sit back and enjoy, or join us in the conversation by dropping your questions or comments into the chat, and one of the individuals on screen will be happy to answer your questions. At this time, I would like to ask you to join me in welcoming the gentleman of Onyx Midwest.
How did you guys get into kink? We'll start with you. Go deep.
Okay, thank you for having me. Number one, this is a pleasure to be a part of this. I would say it was started back when I was in high school, and I remember going. I'm from Atlanta, Georgia, raised originally from Brooklyn, and in Atlanta they had a bookstore called Outright, and this was around like the 2000s, early 2000s. I remember being probably like 14 years old, 15 or so, and I went and just was perusing the shelves, looking through, just being really curious, and I came across this comic book by a really awesome black comic book artist, legendary at this point, named Belasco, and he was doing really groundbreaking things back then in representation and showing black men and kink. And this was just full of imagination. All the different types of scenes were there, whether it was a party, sex party. There was outside of a church scene. There was guys in leather, pierced bodies, bulging muscles, just everything that my 15-year-old mind needed to feel connected to my own sexuality and just becoming more into tune with who I was at that time. So I would say it left a huge imprint. I would masturbate to this autographed copy, mind you, And I mean, it's so awesome because like fast forward now, you know, a lot of the things that I see that are happening around me and like in my journey, I can say I believe a seed was planted when I was watching and you know taking in the information, making downloads from the comic book. You know, even down to role play and relations in a scene. You know, he properly kind of like set things up visually, and me being a visual person, I was able to just take that in and. Like I said, I have been able to explore so many things, and really just kind of came to me. And I think a lot of times you don't really choose your what sexual appetite or like where you find kinship or connection. You know, there's like a sacredness to me, and so I guess through law of attraction, like I you know certain kinks that I had or I didn't realize I had, I would meet people along the way to where that was exposed.
Free zone. What about you? How did you get into kink?
How did I get into kink? Picture it, Sicily, 1922. So I've always been a very sexual individual. From the time I knew how the equipment worked, I was always at it. So in Baltimore, where I'm from, there's this infamous place called Druid Hill Park. I used to frequent there a lot in my early 20s, and through being out there, you know, I made a couple of friends that, you know, after we did the do, you know, we still wanted to carry conversation with each other. So one night in particular, this person was like, "Hey, come hang out with me," and we ended up going to this little hole in the wall. Now, I'd never heard of it, but they were like, "Come on, let's go to the Eagle." I'm like, "Whatevs, let's go." Now, the Eagle that I was first introduced to was, like I said, a seedy little hole in the wall. When you walked in, I mean, there was a familiar scent. The floor was sticky. It was rather grungy. But I noticed that everyone was attired very similarly. It was like either very leather and denim or very denim or, you know, some of the sort. So I kept going past the bar, kept going towards the back, and I noticed that the further back I went, the less clothes I saw. Now, of course, thought such as myself, yeah, I'm all in. I happened to see this guy up against the wall, and you know, you're under arrest pose, if you will. And I saw this fringe whip hitting his back. Now, what I learned was that the proper name is called a flogger, but I was so enamored with the technique that the guy that was flogging him was doing, and I mean, like I really couldn't tear myself away from it. So much to the point where the guy that was flogging him like noticed me and waved me over. So I mean, I'm being skittish at first, but you know, my curiosity got the best of me. So I went over and he grabbed my hand and he put the flogger in my hand. He was like, "Try it." So I'm looking at the guy against the wall, and I'm like, "Am I really gonna do?" So the guy against the wall, he was like, "Come on, do it, please." That arose something in me. So, of course, the first time, you know, I just did it playfully because, you know, I'm like, I don't want to hurt this guy. So the guy against the wall, he's like, "No, do this." And then the more I did it, like, dog, when I tell you my dick got so hard that day,
Shut your mouth.
oh my God, it was bananas. Like, to the point, like, I literally, like, I went over in a corner and, like, beat off. And then, like, two other guys, like, came and beat off with me. I'm like, dog, is this what it is? And no lie, like literally every Friday and Saturday for I want to say a good 3 months after that, my name was Mr. Eagle. Like I was there. Like as soon as I walked through, pass me my pineapple and tequila, point me to my corner. We're doing this. And the more I went, the more I was introduced to various kinks, various fetishes, if you will, that like helped me hone what I like. And even now, like there's still some things that I'm interested in, but like I just haven't stuck my toe in the pool yet. So
Nice.
that's my story.
I would say for me, honestly, it was going to my first IML. I felt like, so I'm a church boy, like to heart.
Yes, Lord.
And so for me, I felt like, oh my Lord Jesus, I just stepped into Sodom and Gomorrah, and this is what the Bible was talking about. I saw men with kilts, and somebody was underneath getting head, and I saw people getting flogged, people getting paddled, and I was like, oh. And then for me, it was the first time I went to the Onyx Suite, and I saw someone being flogged, and it intrigued me. It intrigued me to the point that I told someone, I was like, I want to do what he's doing. I want to have what he's having. And
Well, we'll do it.
that night, I went to a certain person's house, didn't know that it wasn't their real house. Uh, and I was flogged on the bed to the point that something about the cadence of the flog that literally put me to sleep till I started snoring. No lie. I wish
love
I
it.
could lie. I'm not that good of a liar. I just pretend to be. So, just want to let you guys know that one thing about Project Vita, they have this handy dandy toy box. All you have to do is 3 steps. Y'all ready for this? Step 1, you fill out a form. Step 2, you receive a text, a take-home test, and then they'll call you back for results. And then step 3, once you get your results, you call in and tell them the results, and you get a toy box. Ain't it pretty? Ain't it pretty? So, got a few questions for y'all. What does it mean to set a scene? Free zone, go.
To set a scene. Okay. Well, ultimately, it depends on the kind of play you want to do.
What do you mean by that?
Various people have various fetishes that they want to engage in during sex. Case in point, for someone that's into flogging, it's not going to be the very same setup as it would be for someone that's into water sports.
What are water sports?
Water sports, thank you for asking.
You're welcome.
Water sports is the act of someone relieving themselves via urine.
Oh, okay.
Now, that's not per se one of my kinks. However, I'm not in the practice of yucking anyone else's yum because there are certain things that I like that other people don't care for. Back to the topic at hand, setting the scene. So for me, I'm very much into sensation play. And it's not always about the intensity of it. Sometimes it's just about the touch itself. So I would, lay down a very comfortable blanket like a chenille or something like that, something that's going to feel very soft to the touch. And then aside from that, I'll lay out my various enhancements nearby. My favorite enhancement happens to be right now the massage wand. It's amazing. Whether you use it on yourself or whether you use it with an actual partner, it has various settings, and it stimulates the skin. Sometimes if I'm eating ass, I'll use it up against the gooch, and I'm not gonna give away all my secrets because y'all won't get that one. Tune into my Twitter, you'll see what I do. But back to the matter at hand, setting the scene, it's making the space conducive to the outcome that you want.
Gotcha. Cody?
Okay, setting the scene to me definitely happens in a way where it's not just for the sexual act or the act, physical act between me and another party or people. It is also inclusive of just like what I do to the space. So like aroma is important, lighting. So I'm very sensory about it. I want the person or persons to enter a space where they feel calm. Oftentimes I get the response when people enter, wow, I feel safe. I feel like I could just be comfortable. And that's like a big compliment from me as somebody that will be hosting and making sure that I'm guiding them through a journey. So it starts from before they get there. I make the intent to really transport them. And so, after, of course, the smell and the lighting and everything, there's just prepping for like what's going to happen, to piggyback off of my bro here. Like, depending on like if I'm going to be doing fisting, then I'll make sure I have like my lube already made, or if I'm going to use Crisco, I'll have that. Towels like prepared. Have this like fuck sheet that I wash every now and like again, not all the time. Sometimes I like it a little dirty,
Oh, okay.
So, independent upon the person and personality, it depends on like how long that conversation exists. Because I believe the conversation is part of it, which is a consent conversation, but it's done in like a sexy way, where I'm tapping into who they are based on conversations in the past or what they've told me about themselves, and how far we've been able to go is really reveals like how, like I said, how fast we get into the action. Sometimes like I have some boys, they just come in and they instantly, we'll talk a little bit. They're like very eager, and I enjoy that. That they feel, it makes me feel very good that they feel comfortable to just get in. They don't feel nervous or anything like that. So that's very important to me, aside from just the physical stuff.
Gotcha. So, you guys both mentioned some enhancements like toys. Outside of toys, do you guys believe in just using any kind of enhancement like Viagra, honey, poppers? What's your take on it?
I've tried it all. I mean, corner store Viagra to the honey pack. I've had that before. To prescription based, and I don't rely on those things. I think it's cool to enhance exactly what you said, to enhance poppers as well. I don't really do too much because it interferes with my erection. Sometimes I get too much, So I'm one of those like, let them enjoy that, and I might take a hit here and there. I don't drink really, so my offering is usually like weed, that kind of thing.
So you consider weed an enhancement?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
I agree wholeheartedly. Weed is one of the best enhancements around. Now, to piggyback off of my brother, I have tried the Viagra. Viagra does not do it for me, and I'm going to tell you why. I was at a sex party once, and I took one, and I'm in the middle of tearing this dude a new hole. Halfway through that, I feel my heart start to beat like a hummingbird. And I thought I was on my way out of here, like to the point I had to pull out a dude and like literally run back into like the little common area and get some water, because I'm like, I'm not going to die at a sex party. Like, there's no way that you're going to tell my mother, my grandparents, or anybody that I died here. No, that's not happening. Now, will I take a honey pack in a heartbeat? Listen, I don't know who decided to put those things on the market, but there's a special place in heaven just for you, okay? I want you to know that. If you're listening tonight, there's a special place in heaven for you with the honey packs, okay? But other enhancements, I like toys. I like scented candles, like my brother said. Oils, all that, anything that's going to make whatever we do top notch for you. Let's do it.
Gotcha. So for me, my favorite enhancement is natural-ish, natural-ish, is horny goat weed with maca root. When I've taken it, I probably have lasted longer than I would just naturally. I think my max was, I was also, drinking water, eating right, exercising. I think we went about 2 to 3 hours. And I had to jag off just so I could come. It was wonderful.
It happens.
Those were the days. You know, he was a special one. I miss him. So, what about consent? One of the first lessons that I learned when I came into the leather life was consent is sexy. So, how do you guys feel about consent, and even when it comes to going to a either a sex party or whether it's going to a play space, a play dungeon? What do you think about consent?
Brother?
What do I think about going to a play space?
When it comes to consent.
When it comes to consent, what do I think about consent? I think consent is imperative. There's nothing happening if we don't have that sexy conversation. Typically, I will find really inventive ways of introducing, like I enjoy fisting. So when I mention it, so some, especially dealing with brothers, black men, you can be taken aback sometimes and reject you. This is just in casual meetings, so it's not necessarily assumed that they're into it. I'm just one of those people. I'm extremely direct, but I'm calm about it. I don't like to impose, so I will just plant the seed, and oftentimes those same guys, maybe like a couple months later, you find that few fingers, 4 fingers, we're really working our way up. Until then, they are asking me to try it, so that happens often. I think you have to, like say, plant the seed, and consent is always around just having a communication. That's it.
Gotcha.
Well, for me, in a play space, there's 2 different kinds of play spaces. So if I'm in, let's say, a park, if you will, yeah, I have frequented a park. Let's get this all out of the way.
What do you mean a park?
A park after dark where those that enjoy same gender intercourse will frequent and, find someone that they want to engage in intercourse with. That's what I mean by a park. I'm very much of the mind that, I'll make my way through, do a round. If I see anyone that, freaks my freak, then, I'll go. Hey, how are you? Or, nonverbal communication, reach out, maybe touch on the arm. If they draw back, then, hey, keep it moving. Or if they reply back with touching you, then, hey, you got the green light. On the other side of that, in a more intimate play space, i.e. a sex party, I'm the kind, I don't wear clothes at a sex party. That's stupid to me. Like, we're not doing drills or anything like that. You about to get a fitted, you about to get these sneakers and some socks. And other than that, hey, you're getting the full package. Now, if I'm not feeling you, I'm not going to be rude about it unless you're doing too much. If it's just one time and you're just not really my cup of tea, I'll either just back away or I'm good, bro. If you become insistent about it, then I have to be a dick about it, and then I have to embarrass you. Which, I mean, I don't like doing because it ultimately kind of disrupts the unity of the space. So it's all like the way that you approach me directly impacts the way that I respond to you.
Gotcha.
So if I give you consent, cool, have at it. If I don't, accept no, and also accept the fact that there's numerous other people here, and vice versa. If I'm not your cup of tea, trust, I'll take no for an answer very well, because I look like this. Come on.
So I do have a question for you, Goldie. Why do you, why do you feel like people who are of color find fisting so taboo?
Well, I believe we can go back to the Bible. You know, we can talk about sodomy, right? And a lot of it is generational. You know, I would say black people, we are deeply rooted spiritually and religiously. You know, we are dedicated oftentimes to Christianity, and so I think it interferes with a lot of the things that we were taught, and so there's that portion, and then I think it's also just like on the spectrum, it's like probably one of the most dangerous fetishes. So I think that's something people should be aware of before they try it. Yeah, I do hope that the fear can kind of melt away, and the association with it being more of like a racial thing when it comes to us. Like I hear things like, well, you know, that's something white people do, you know, and so I would like to see that change, but I think it, like I said, I think it stems from our religious background, and then the fact that it is so extreme that most people don't really understand that it's just part of ass play first and foremost, and it's just this extreme, yeah, you want to say extreme gradient of ass play, you know. So I usually introduce it like that as well, you know, like you want to finesse, and not in trickery kind of way, but in you know, with skill, how you deliver your fetish to someone sometimes, you know, especially if you know that you can see that they're timid or have a maybe some preconceived ideas around something just from based on the conversation. So just to, like I say, I introduce maybe a couple fingers and then toys as well, you know. So oftentimes that's also another thing, not just the fisting. A lot of black men or men of color, they'll say, "Oh, I just, you know," I say, "Well, you into toys? Oh, I want the real thing. I only want the real thing." I'm like, "Okay, but you could explore when you get ready, just to put that out there, you know." And some have. So I think it's just all around like having those conversations again, so that we can erase or relearn or unlearn some of the things, you know, unlearn some of the things rather that we've been taught.
Wonderful. So Free Zone, I'm gonna tell
Yes.
you. So our wonderful studio audience had a question in the chat.
What y'all want to know?
So the question is, y'all mentioned honey pack. What's honey pack?
Okay, I'm so glad you asked that question. All right, so if you ever been to a gas station and seen this little small packet called Royal Honey, yeah, that's what a honey pack is. And to dive a little bit deeper, it is actual honey, but it has various sexual stimulants in it that allow you to keep your erection longer, and it prolongs sex. It prolongs the stiffness of it. Like it allows you to, you know, just go a little while. It's like it's a sweet Viagra, if you will.
Shut your mouth.
It is. Now, some people like to use, just a portion of it. Some people will use the whole pack. Some people that I've seen on TikTok, Instagram, in my bedroom, you like to use 2 packs because we about to knock some walls down. Do with that information what you will. It's all right.
Okay. So,
Uh-huh.
moving right along, we want to discuss this wonderful toy box. When I tell you, it comes in handy. One of our brothers had a few wonderful parts of the toy box, and his when he competed for a competition. But what you need to do is reach on out. You see the link down at the bottom? Click on the link, type it in, and then what you want to do is after you fill out the form, you want to receive your test in the mail, then you need to take the test, and then call back for your results. Then once all of that happens, the wonderful people of Project Vita, what they do is they send the toy box to your house. When I tell you, it will bless your soul, it will bless your life, and it will bless your partner. If I'm lying, I'm light-skinned, and I ain't light-skinned.
So is this going to be like Oprah's favorite things? You get a toy box, and you get a toy box.
They got to take the test
box
to get the toy box. We ain't Oprah. You just got to do the work to get the box.
Granted.
It could be said so many ways. Listen,
the
you got
work
to
to
do
get
the
the
work
box.
to get the box.
That's Bible right there. All right.
Listen, I got a whole bunch of them. Don't
I
worry.
like it.
Don't
I
worry.
like it a lot.
So the question is, can you use the honey pack on someone's body, or should you just intake it in your mouth?
Baby,
Like put the whole thing in your mouth.
however you want to do it is how you do it. Now, it's originally intended to just be ingested. However, and whoever asked that question, I appreciate you because I'm going to do that the very next time. Because I like, food play as well. And that does qualify as food play because it's honey. So if I decide to, just drizzle it on down someone's. All right, I'm just going to use it as food play, but thank you. Thank you. It's meant to be ingested, but hey. However you use it is how you use it, baby.
Gotcha. So, what do you do in a scene if someone is too rough in the scene? Is there, like, if you're playing with someone, even though, you guys are normally doms, if you're playing in a scene, what if you even see someone who is too rough in the scene? How do you handle it? Do you break up the scene? Do you just be like, oh, I'm going to call 911? What is your...
It honestly depends on both parties, because perception is everything. What I may view as too rough may be someone's, thing. However, if I do see that, like, this really is causing you discomfort and pain, like, I am going, hey, bro, you may want to pay attention to your partner because they're not experiencing the same amount of enjoyment that you're experiencing. Or if it's on me, I'm a jerk when it comes to pain. Like, if you get one time to make it not feel good, we done here. Shut the studio down. We're finished.
Just coming back to communication again. I think you have to just be direct. You can have safe words. That's another thing that's also important. You have cues. I'm a personal trainer. I've been doing that since I was in my 20s, right? So there are certain ways that I will cue up like a workout. And so I take a lot of that skill set and bring it into the bedroom as well, or into play. So I think there's ways that you can non-verbally cue somebody to know, like, hey, that's not feeling that great. For instance, be more specific, nipple play. I like my nipples played with. It's like starting the engine. So if that is a thing where it's a little too much, it's a way I'll just lightly tap their head or their shoulder, different cues like that, or I'll just verbally say, "Hey, it's a little too much. Lighten up on the left nipple." If I seen someone in a play space being rough with someone, again, I would try to assess what is really going on first before I just get in the midst of someone's scene. I think that's really important. And if I just, like I said, I would speak out. That's a natural thing to do. That's kind of like my nature. If I see something wrong, I will say something.
Gotcha. So, what are some triggers when it comes to the play scene?
Scat for me, I don't know, like
So,
Uh,
what's scat?
uh,
Tell the people at home.
scat is when you have a fetish around excrements, right? Or shit. You like maybe unclean ass. That's fine. You might like to actually see shit come out of the ass. Some people eat it. Some people just play with it. You know. Yeah. Am I missing? I think that's it. For me, I would say that's probably usually one of the triggers. So I do always communicate that I like clean. Hygiene is important. It's a must for me. Yeah, so that's probably one of the things that would be kind of like, yeah, blood. If the person is bleeding while we're having sex, I will end the scene there too.
So, do you feel like there's a difference between hygiene and Manson?
Yes, I think so. Like, I mean, for me, like today, I didn't wear any deodorant. Now, a lot of times I wear deodorant maybe twice a week, just because I like the way I smell naturally, and I
Oh,
find
he
that
smells amazing, by the way.
appreciate that. Yeah, yeah. So, being that I work out often, I just like the way my drawers smell. Just I'm hairy, so I kind of keep scent, and I find that the people that I connect with, they usually enjoy it. So yeah, we both. So I think there's a difference between man scent and then someone that just has not washed in days. So I do take showers, and straight out the shower, I still smell like the pheromones. I can smell my own pheromones.
Oh, okay. So, Free Zone, I got a question for you.
Talk to me, baby.
The people want to know, how can you make sure that the person that you're dealing with feels safe?
Communicate, communicate, communicate. In every possible way, before the action, during each phase of the action, even after it. Like, hey, is there anything that if we decide to link up with each other again that you do want to implement or you don't want to implement? And then going back to before, hey, so talk to me about your do's and your don'ts. What are your green lights? What are your yellow lights? What are your red lights? What are your hard no's? So I know even if that is my thing, then I can curtail that so that we both enjoy this.
Gotcha.
Because if neither one of us, if one or neither one of us feels safe, then it's not going to be an enjoyable experience in any way, shape, or form whatsoever. Now, don't get me wrong. Like, there are certain people that live for that little edge of danger, but it has to be tempered with even just a little bit of safety, even in that.
So, would you say safety and consent are similar or the same thing?
They go hand in hand.
How so?
So, say for instance, I'm with someone and we're having sex, and they've already communicated that they're cool with choking. Listen, if your juice box is that good, then my hands may get a little bit tight. So, I mean, it's up to you to communicate if it's a little bit too tight, and it's also up to me to watch your body language to see if this is just a bit more than you can handle. So, communication has to be paramount across the board, and it's not even just in sex; it's just in your everyday walk. But most importantly in sex, because if I don't know, I can end up harming you unintentionally. So I mean, it's up to both the verbal and the nonverbal communication.
Gotcha. I'm sorry, I just had a church
Maybe
moment.
that thing just touched him real good in a mighty way. All right,
Listen, picture it. March this year.
March.
The last time I choked someone to the point that their eyes bulged out. I'm sorry. I clumped myself.
It's all right. It's all right.
So just some reading sources, because we don't want to just tell you some stuff, but one of the best books I've ever read, and it's even on Audible, is called Ethical Slut. When I tell you, it will bless your life and bless your parts, and it blessed my heart, because it just discussed about just being okay with who you are and okay with what you do. Because sometimes, especially being a person of color, a lot of times we're taught not to be okay with sexual liberation, I guess is the word I want to use, being liberated in your sex.
Yeah, and a lot of that comes from white patriarchy and racialization when it comes to our bodies, being fetishized since transatlantic slave trade to now being a commodity. So I think some of these things we do have to reclaim as black people. And I think we're the agents of that. Organizations like Onyx and artists and musicians who have come out. I think we are some of the pioneers in that space to show people, to show our community that you can be hetero, you can be queer, you can be whatever letter of the community, and you can participate to your own liking in kink and fetish play and really open and unlock and free yourself from the system.
What did In Vogue say? Free your mind, and the rest will follow. So another book would be Leather Sex. And when I tell you, you need to get these, it's on Audible. It's on Les Amazon, my favorite place to
Amazon.
listen. They will bless you. It's one of my favorite places to, even when it comes to buying enhancements, little toys. Listen, when I tell you not just Amazon, I bought my first stroker on Groupon.
Yes, Groupon.
When I tell you, so the way my bank account used to be set up, I mean, it's still not set up right, but the way it used to be set up, I was making like $15,000 a year. So look, I had to be kink on a budget. But like the one thing that one thing that organizations like Onyx has taught me is you have to do your research in order to get what you need. Don't say you want to be a kinky person and then you just go to Jackhammer or Touche and you just throw on a harness and be like, "Oh, I'm kinky, y'all. I'm kinky." No. You got to do your work if you want to grow in this life. Well, by the way, you see this little thing right here? This little perfect tile box? Do your work. You want to get some enhancements. You want to please your partner and please yourself. Get a toy box. So
Jerome.
this is a good segue because it's time for a commercial break. We'll be
Hey,
right back.
so what are you doing tonight?
Hey, Eric.
Project BDOT is doing a Toy With Me party on Zoom.
Nice. What's that all about?
They focused on different sex-positive topics, and they're going to be offering free home HIV testing kits through Sinai Infectious Disease Center.
HIV home test kits. How does that work?
So they're going to share a link in the chat where you can sign up to get your home test kit.
Okay, I've been wanting to get tested, but I didn't really want to leave the house.
I feel you. You just give them your contact info, and someone from Sinai will contact you to send out your free home HIV testing kits. They'll put it in an unmarked box to your mailbox.
Okay, then I do the test by myself? It sounds kind of difficult.
It's not that hard. Once you get the test kit, it's pretty easy. Just follow the step-by-step directions, and you'll get your results in about 20 minutes. Let Sinai know that you took the test and what your results were, and you can even call them and they'll walk you through it. Sinai will then contact Project Vita to let them know that you took the test, and they'll send you out a complimentary gift bag.
Can they also help me access PrEP and any other sexual health needs?
Yeah, of course. Sinai partner up with Project Vita to provide sexual health education, prevention tools, and medical treatment to the community. And they have lots of services too.
Sounds awesome. I definitely want to go and get tested at home, and I'll do the Toy With Me party too.
All right, now we back. So with things like IML are coming up, or if you decide to go into a play space or even go into one of the leather bars, one of the things you need to remember is consent. The one thing that we always discuss is consent is what? What is it, brother? It's sexy. And so this wonderful specimen is my line brother, our wonderful El Presidente. So we're going to discuss about verbal and nonverbal consent. And so we're going to fast forward. So when it comes to nonverbal consent cues, if someone tries to approach you in one of these spaces, some of the things that happen is he may approach me. And so I call it give him the Heisman, or no thank. That's another where we shake our head. He can approach me in a verbal, hi, how are you? No thank you. I'm good. You know what? You're nice, but I don't want to play with you. So those are some verbal and nonverbal consent ways, especially when you come to some places that may be new to you. If you're going to IML or you're going to a play space or even a leather bar, you want to make sure that you're prepared for those. And then we just thank you kindly, Subzero. All right, bye-bye. We're going to ask the pledges to come on back. So we're just going to have one last question. What is one thing that you would like the people to know as far as when it comes to setting a scene? And give me your 30-second version, because I love y'all, but.
This is his way of saying that we talking entirely too damn much. All right, so.
We got a time limit. Amen.
I got you. So, all right. As far as setting a scene, communicate with your partner. That is paramount. Find out their likes. Share with them your likes. So, regardless to whether the scene is being set in your space or being set in their space, it's conducive for both of you. See, and I did it in less than 30 seconds.
Wonderful. All right. Go deep.
All right. So you want to definitely keep communication there, as we've been keeping that going throughout this conversation. I want to encourage everyone to be imaginative. Think outside the box. Bring your wildest dreams to life and bring other people into that and see what happens.
Thank you. So as we wrap up, we just got a few church announcements. Oh, Lord Jesus. We got a few church announcements.
Govern yourself accordingly.
Amen. we're going to govern ourselves accordingly as far as the church announcements, because we're going to. Now, next week, y'all know what next week is. It's IML. IML is coming up. If you've never been, let me tell you, get yourself ready. So Onyx is hosting, everybody is hosting events, but y'all need to come to the Onyx events. We start with Friday. So Friday night, we have wonderful pledges. We got a class of 10
Nasty.
beautiful,
Nasty.
beautiful men and women who are going to come
look at
in
this.
and bless you. Great question. Someone in our audience asked, "What is IML?" What is IML? IML is a competition, international Mr. Leather competition, and we have a couple of brothers in our organization and even in our chapter who are running. So it's a week-long event that you guys need to come out and support. So Friday night, we always get a hospitality suite, and so we got a wonderful pledges who are the nasty boys, and they all nasty. Trust and believe. So that's Friday night. We got the nasty boys, and if you're a naturalist is someone who likes to be nude, but it's not for sexual purposes. They just like not having clothes on. And so we calling it Naturalists in the Wild. Y'all want to come and see, mingle. Don't matter your size or what you like. Just come on out. Remember, it's going to be a clean party. So then we fast forward to Saturday. So Saturday we have a talk with the Chicago Black Gay Men's Caucus where we'll be discussing some health things about just being better in the community. And then we have another talk which is directed towards BIPOC men and boys, girls, and subs, and that will be led by our very own brother, Boy Gregory. And then when I tell you, get yourself ready, because when I tell you Saturday night, we have our famous house party. So Onyx does a house party every year, and this year we'll be at Baseline. We got a DJ, it'll be music, it'll be go-go dances. Let me tell you, if you ain't there, you better get there. Get your $20 and come on out. And so then we're going to fast forward to Sunday. Sunday fun day. So we're going to start off with a brunch. And after the brunch, we'll have, we'll just prepare ourselves for the competition. But if we going to rewind a little bit longer, there is, at the dance, Project Vita will be there. Project will be there to give free testing to the people. We're going to give free testing to the people. Even if you know your status, there is more than just being positive with HIV. There's a lot of STIs that they test for. And so come on out and get the free FRE, my favorite F word. Get some free testing from Project Vita. On Saturday, so, did you know it? If you get the testing, it is free to get in. You ain't got to pay your $20. So come on out. Come on out. You won't want to miss it. So we're going to go back to Saturday. There is always the People of Color Leather Caucus. It's a wonderful time where you got wonderful people all over the leather and kink spaces who are just discussing their journey. And then we also want to say that we would like you to support Project Vita and the partnership with Mind, Body, and Soul. It's a health and wellness circle. If you would like more information about the Mind, Body, and Soul, why don't you email tbarber at projectvita.org. That's tbarber at projectvita.org. All right. Is that it for our church announcements? Oh, one more announcement. We have our brother Saber, who is a former president of our chapter. He had some health challenges, and we want you to go and support him. So all you need to do is take your little phone, scan it to the screen, and support. You go to, or you can type in go to the number 2 linkupshy.info/support for Saber. Y'all ready? Go ahead and do it. All right. This is your brother, Legendary Onyx. Peace and love, peace and blessings. Thank you.